Okay, let's get some decals on. I think I found the. I'm gonna start on the bottom. I think I found the sheets that kind of have a lot of the bottom stuff on. It's kind of spread out in different sheets in a sense. Got the bottom of the hull done and clear coated. All the windows are in, and she's all clear coated. Oh, and these came out well. I'm happy with that. Like I said, before I do the satin, I'll probably hit a little black around those edges right in there. There's a little bit up top, but it's mainly in this kind of gully here. So, but that is good. So we're gonna let that cure a little more. But yeah, both halves are ready for decal. So what I'm thinking of doing here is we'll start in the center and just kind of spread our way out. But it looks like since this is kind of higher, it looks like it'd be probably smart to get that bottom piece in here first, which is a piece that's kind of goes with this detail here along these ribbed areas, which are left exposed. So, and then I think we'll put that part on top. That way we're not scraping this decal over top. Because we might have to come in, I don't know. Looks like it's a little smaller than this. Almost like this should have been put down and then this put down. So we'll find out. If not, we can always just cut it up the center and just put it in two halves. Also got to see where my windows landed. If that's like that, we might be just okay. I think I might have just did that correctly. But nothing to it but to do it. Get my scissors here. This is the part I've been waiting for to see how. Because right now she's just been a gray ship. I put a little drop of Dawn soap in there to help the decal slide. And now's a good time to get that next one, which is going to be the captain's yacht. There's my good tweezers. They're going to be able to, yeah. Now, what's front and what's back? Okay, that's pretty easy because this gray part follows that there. We're going to want to get this area wet. You can see how there's openings for the window areas. There's a lot of detail here, so. All right. See how these decals are moving. Oh, they're moving good. What's going to be the best way? I guess I have to do that and see how it. For some reason, I think we're going to have to slide it, tuck it through underneath that. I might have to cut it. Yeah. I think it'd be better if I cut it on the sheet. I think so. I'm gonna have to cut it. Because, like I was afraid of, this is bigger than the little opening they left. So I'll just follow that panel line. I'll cut it. Not what I really wanted to do, but sometimes you have to with these because they're just so big. Put some water back, since, especially in this situation where I'm gonna have to slide this underneath. Still don't know exactly how we're gonna get it to do it, except for to pull this like that. Try to get it to tuck under. I don't know how fragile these are. If these are like the NX01, they'll shatter if you poke them too much. Get some more water under here. Maybe that side did it. That worked doing that. What we can do. I think it did. I think we got somewhere. I think we might have to just lose that blue color that goes underneath there. But we're going to have to slice this. I think the best way to do that is going to be to let it. Or I need a brand new blade. This one might be just a little too dull. Oh, there it goes. There we go. That worked fine. And that relieved a lot of pressure. Now, can we get this on here? Get some moisture back on it. Same with you. Alright. I mean, nothing to it but to do it. Actually doing a pretty good job. Alright, can we... That should have relieved some stress around that. I wish I would have known that would have been... And I was going to hold off and wait on putting that on last, but... Can you do? Now I can concentrate on getting air bubbles out. Which is a whole lot of fun, because this does have a lot of detail on it. This will help this settle. Oh, I chipped out a little piece. See if I can get it back in there. Yep, Just got to be careful of that now. Okay. This actually helps because I can see where air is getting trapped in little squares. I'm gonna call that good. I'm liking that. We just got to touch up a little, just a little gray right there, and that'll be fine. All right, before this thing's not gonna be able to stick to anything. Any particular way it goes? I don't think so. It's already starting to want to suck to the contours already. You can see it already starting to sink down. Keep getting rid of any of those little areas where it's trying to wrinkle. But they're really asking for a lot of these decals here. See how they're going to want to shrink, because we also got that there that it's got to try to sink down in. We'll let it sit and see what happens. You're in the middle sheet, but you're at the end. So you're 135. This is where you do want to leave the numbers on like the instructions said, because they're going to be similar pieces, but they go a certain way. So it is smart to listen to what they say. All right, so these are going to be here. 135, 136, 37, and probably 38. 134, 35, 36, and 37. Yeah, see, that's the problem with those tongs. They don't quite grab thin things. That's 34, 35, 36, and 37. Oop. Uh-oh. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to leave them in very long. I gotta make sure I get the numbers off of there. Right, so you're 135. little black specks because the numbers start to disintegrate. So yeah, you don't have to put them in there very long, like 30 seconds max. That's what I'm gonna say. 30 seconds max. I hope this is the right way. There you go, I like that. Saw some number dirt on here. Wait, no, it's underneath. At least that one is. Let's see if I can get it. Go. I like taking it off the paper like that, but I don't have much of a choice. That was fairly simple. Make sure we're lining up. Oh, I'm so happy how the gray goes with everything. The other grades that are in the mainly blues, but there is a little bit of a bluish gray there that's very distinct, and very happy with that. Let's quite see what's going on here. And I gotta tell you, they're lining up not too bad. This one might be a little bit oversized. Actually, no, it's not. I do that, which is perfect. Try to get the water out from underneath without moving it. So is the fun part. Okay, getting there. It's gonna look so nice. I have a feeling it's really gonna take a while for these to settle. But I have faith that they eventually will. There's just a lot of detail that's dealing with. Well, we're coming along. The only issue is I have a lot of wrinkling up in here. So I've been trying everything to try to get them to settle correctly. But we're just gonna have to spend the time and sit there and with a real sharp blade and pop those and get them to sink. This is my first time with doing full on Aztec decals like this. And when I first saw how heavy the carrier film was, I was a little worried. It's pretty heavy, but I get why in a little bit, because you're moving and tugging things. I'll put this one in the water. This is the last one here. you're tugging and pulling. So you definitely want some strength to it, but it's like they lay down smooth, and then as you try to get them to settle down with like a little bit of decal solvent solution, they start setting and then full on wrinkling. I don't know if that's something that's going to go away. These here aren't bad at all. It's got a good smooth edge. There's a lot of little detail up here that you're trying to ride around too, which could be trapping little air bubbles, even as much as you try to squeegee it all out. Here it's a little simpler. You can kind of just do this and do that, what I've been doing, and it's been working. But up here I had so much little detail, and you're putting so tiny pieces on, which you would think that would help. But we're just going to have to do it like this and just keep cutting little spots, and then trying to get them to settle down. Also, they say, 30 seconds and whatever. They are breaking free a lot faster than what they're saying. That's one thing. They say what, 30 seconds in the water, or 10 seconds, and up to a half a minute to a minute to remove it. These are one of those decal sets that doesn't even take that long. Yeah, I don't know if I'm adding too much water to the surface, but in order to move them, you're going to have to. So what I'm doing now, a little different, I'm actually putting some solvent, decal solvent, and mixing it in with a little bit of water before I even put it down. And that's, I don't know if that's what made these go a lot better. I shouldn't even say a lot better. But oh no, this is not a bad process. It's all going to, things are lining up fairly well. You got to kind of force them when they want to, because they are so big that once they start grabbing. The only thing I would say is they need to die cut more of these areas out here. They didn't back here on like this one and this one, and they should have. I could have done what like they did and just let it sit there over top and let the decals dry, and then cut those overhangs or over layers off. But you die cut all most of these other ones. Why not just do the whole thing? Let's keep focused on, we're right here where it settles down and dries. You just want to do long strokes. Sometimes it's actually better with your finger. You can get a better squeegee. That's about it. That's the last Aztec decal on this bottom. And now I'm putting a little bit of decal solution on the top. Now this is really mild, so which is great for this, because it's not softening them so much that they want to tear. From a distance, it looks great. We just got to figure out how to get rid of this in here the most. And I'm glad I started on the bottom, because at least it'll be upside down. I don't know if we'll have that much problem up top. Probably so. It's like, see how these just really have just a few detail parts here. I don't know if you're going to see it. And then you mainly just have your lifeboats, but these got, you got all these little panel things going everywhere. And especially in these areas here and up in here. So we'll see how all that goes down. But this has got a lot of it, and it's all close together. So it's like stuff for the decals to snag on, stuff for air bubbles to want to chill. It looks like it's just going to be cut. And keep putting solutions in them. But all in all, I'm happy, especially when it comes with these bigger ones. The only other weirdness is it's not so bad with the dark blue and the gray they got going on, but with these light blue ones right here. I don't know if you can see, or like this here. It goes right over a window. And or like up here. This one goes across 3 of them. I don't like how they're going through windows and almost blocking the window. Like you can't even see that, the light's off. I should still see every window. So I don't know what to do in that area. Probably what I could do is once they're dry, is take a sharp blade and just pop through and then cut around. That's probably what I'll have to do. The other ones, I'm not even going to worry. Like this blue's going right over those two, but you can still see the window. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm going to let these set for a little bit. And, I do like the way it's looking. As far as the colors and gray I chose, works good. So it's going to, hopefully, if we can fix this problem, it's going to look great. But I'm a little nervous right now. I won't lie. All right. Well, I think I got them to seat down as best as I'm going to get them. Went online to try to see how other people were, anything I'm doing different, or someone come up with some technique or something that will help them seat. And it's all just patience and just keep on working them and trying to get air out and getting them to soak down with solutions. This ship is not a very good ship for as far as the mold for Aztec decals. It's got all these little details that you might be getting. Yeah. All these little ridges can cause little air pockets. And at first you might think they're gone, and then you got to keep going back. So it seems the best way, like this section here worked much better because there's more of that detail closer together up here, where here it's further apart. So you can get in there and squish. Where here it'll just pop to one, little piece of all this railing. So I'm assuming we're going to have the same issue, especially right here in this area. And then probably the same throughout here, because that's pretty close. Maybe this outer edge where it gets wider. And down here it should be fine because it's just mainly lifeboats and windows. You still have those little lines that go everywhere, but I'm hoping they're going to be a little better. But the best thing is just do a couple pieces, and then really before they start really seating, just keep going back and keep checking it and seeing if any air wants to go to where other air is. It seems because like you won't see anything, and then all of a sudden you'll see an air pocket like right here where the ship, especially on this lower part where it's kind of flat and it starts doming. you'll see it there. And if you keep them moist as you're going, you can get in there and get that to squish. Or once it cures, and I saw a lot of them, I would just go and slit them, put a little solution in, and it worked fine. Now the solution made it wrinkle really funky because the solution would actually find, and then you'd see it actually start crawling all underneath as it's going through these little detail pieces and softening them. But unfortunately, it's such a big decal, it doesn't have the strength to pull itself, you know, and that's why you're getting the wrinkles. Because some parts are trying to shrink that you're hitting with the solution, and the other parts are stuck, and then, or vice versa, and it pushes and collides and they shrink. But this was really bad in the center, and it's much better. And then I used an acrylic clear, which melted them down a little bit. But what really started working, I used a different, like a Krylon clear that might have a lacquer in it or an enamel. It doesn't tell you. That's one thing I hate about cans, sprays anymore. They're not telling you anything. This here is cheapo, like, I think it's from not Home Depot, Hobby Lobbies, which normally I like because it's very safe on things like decals and stuff, because then it doesn't, you got those real tiny ones. You hit it with like some lacquer base and it can make that tiny, real tiny decal, say if it's like the size of that light, it can make them melt and almost distort. So it's a very safe, now I don't know if it's an acrylic lacquer or acrylic enamel. It just says acrylic. But it's definitely got to have some type of solvent in it because it's fast drying. But of course, they don't really tell you. Yeah, and it's by Hobby Lobby. And I really, for the price, $4.99, it really works great. And it comes in a gloss, a semi-gloss, a satin, and a matte. So it gives you all kinds of different, and usually I just go online and order a bunch. It actually works really good. If you're doing like car models and stuff where you want more high performance glosses. But for most sci-fi stuff, we're dulling them down anyway. So I find like the matte and the satin are great. You want a little bit of shine, go with a satin. They don't call theirs flat, they call it just matte. If you want a flat spray. So I did use this gloss here, and it melted it down. But like I said, it's milder. So that's why I wanted to go with that, just to make sure we didn't have so much melting, because there were so many raised pieces that you could actually just melt those parts that are sticking up, and then you'll have holes in your color pattern. But I did that, it sealed down. Then I figured it was safe enough, and then what the heck, it was still really bad in here, and this was starting to sink down and looking bad in areas. Now that it fully set down everywhere, it's not bad. A lot of what you're seeing as far as bumps on this half is actually the detail. Here too, but there's a lot of here's a wrinkly area. But a lot of it I know is going to be a little intense because it's glossy too. So it's going to reflect. You're going to see the glares at the different angles. But I'm as happy as I can be for what this is. It should really be a thinner carrier film, but like I said, thinner carrier film means you're dealing with hairs. And with big decals like this, you need strength for them to move. But that's better than I thought it would turn out to be. And like I said, I used the Krylon. Where is the Krylon clear? The Fusion, all in one. It's really a nice clear, I'm noticing, because like where it landed on like these areas here, it's a really nice gloss. I sprayed it last night and then just let it sit. I did have to go through all this with this brand new blade and pop and soak. So I did do that before I did a clear. I spent all this time with this down looking for air pockets and slitting them. And you can actually give them a good slit. I can't tell anywhere that I slit it. Nowhere. Like even if it went across through that blue, I would just boop if there was a wrinkle there and just get some solution in there and it would soak down. So I got them down to where they were just really not air bubbles anymore. If they had a wrinkle, it's a wrinkle, you know, where it's more of a collision type wrinkle or it's shrinking and the other part can't move. That was not bothering me, but the air bubbles that were actually popping up, and a lot of that was causing by the uh, the shrinkage in it not shrinking all at the same time or being able to slide. So I'm going to try a little more soap in my water too to hopefully give it some more slippage as it's drying. Hopefully that'll add, and I'm going to just try to keep my water warm. Maybe even go a little on the hot side, but it's going to be pretty much dipping your decal in and out because these do soften pretty quick as far as that. They say 10 seconds in water and then up to a minute, 30 seconds to a minute sitting out on a towel, and that's pretty accurate. But anyway, all in all, as far as how they went down beautiful. As far as laying them down and them fitting, excellent job. Excellent job. I mean, I started like on this outer rim right here, and you just go with that edge, and you go with this panel line, and it worked perfect. It fit perfect, and then the next one you just bring right up to it, and it fits right to the next panel line. And they did a great job on the sizing and the fits. I think all the windows fitted all right. I know there was a couple they left clear areas for the windows, but they didn't cut the clear film away. They didn't die cut it around the windows. Some they did. Like those I can tell they did. These big ones they did, and some of these, but these two here they didn't. And I think there's one over here. But I think what the best thing on that to do, I mean, I guess you can go in with your blade and just cut it out before you soak it, which is fine. And you can leave it a little, make the cut out a little small so you have a little bit of a clear edge. But you usually can melt down, or you can cut, or you can just, they even tell you, just let it there. And just place it down and let it dry. Once the decal dries, and you can go on the blade and cut it. And that's probably your easiest way. But definitely let it dry because it's gonna, so that the carrier film is stiff. I'm glad I did the bottom, so I've learned some things. But yeah, we're gonna use real warm water. I'm gonna add more soap, and I'm gonna just work in sections and try to, keep coming back and keep squishing water out. And I didn't put any setting solution down first. I just used the soapy water, got the decal down, and then put the setting solution on. I noticed people were saying that didn't mention anything. It's hard to find anything on it. Most of it's just reviews on the decals. Or, and then a lot of the ones I did see where people were actually putting on, and they had the same problem. Some people's went down better than others. But we're all kind of in the same boat, so that's why I feel okay, because mine looks pretty much what everybody else does. Maybe a little worse in here, but I think the dull is you're not gonna get those angles anymore. You're not gonna see all the reflections. Like when you do that, now you see all the reflections. It'll be dull, and I think that's gonna hide it down. If this is the worst part, that's why I started on the bottom. Took advice from Lou over at Aztec. Tell me, start where you can't see it first, especially if it's your first time doing something. And this is my first time with wallpaper decals. My refit I painted because that's the only way to get those translucent colors and iridescent colors. Okay, I started getting the bridge area done on the top, and it's actually going down really nice. It's a little smoother than what we had to deal with here. especially in these areas right here. Here wasn't so bad, but there wasn't a lot of decal there. So that's going down, and I'm taking my time and making sure I squish out and all that wonderful stuff. This thing here in the bridge, you got one piece that does this on top and these two stripes on each side, and then you got a little piece here, and then a little piece here, and then one piece back here, which is kind of funky that they did it that way. I mean, I get it because of this tight curve in the back, so that's probably why. If you did one piece, it could be a problem. But it was lining it up. Here you have like indents, recesses, and this you have like recesses. But these two here, you kind of got to just go off of how it looks and how it fits. And this picture does not really let you see, especially when they put a big white dot to show where that number is actually for. It kind of hides a lot of it. But I think we got it pretty much what it's supposed to be doing. So, yeah, but that being a lot of pieces probably makes sense because of what's going on there with the curves. But that I like. But everything's setting down nice on this, especially even here. But that's just paying attention. I'm taking my time. I kind of rushed through the other. What you really want to concentrate on is the edge right here because it is a sharp. That's where your problem area on this. And plus you got these ridges here. All right, so get that in the water. It's gonna ride right up, but right up against this decal here. Like this one piece was one whole piece, and then the bridge was separate pieces. Yeah, it should be long enough in this water. It goes, they soften up quick, and I have this water nice and warm too. Probably needs, yeah, it needs another change out. The soapiness, adding more soap helped. I'm able to slide these way better. Hit on the sides because I'm sure it's going to roll over. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a little setting solution, mixing it in a little bit with the water so it's down below. So we can soften these from below, not just from the top. All right, so we can line that up and that up. And then pull and slide. Now, one thing you'll notice with these decals, not everything's exact on the other end, I'm noticing. Oh, you know what's going on there? It folded under. One thing I found that these do allow you to have some room. But can see how like this is way off on the side, which I kind of like, but this one kind of going over and wrapping. I don't know if I gotta twist this one over. I'm gonna try it and see what happens. We're still getting movement, but we're also getting on more of that grippy. I'm gonna try to get those, but like I said, I don't believe they probably are. You kind of got to go off your carrier film, and it's sitting really good there and sitting really good there. We're butted up there. We're lining up there. Might even need to twist like that, but yeah, these might not be the same. Now it does show that one a little more in than this one, and that's just how it's going to be. So the best thing on this is try to squish the air and moisture out the closest seam or area it can go away. It was gonna want to go, and sometimes you got to follow those little panel details because you push this way, but it wants to follow a panel detail going that way. So you just, if it wants to go up, let it go up. If it wants to go left, push it left. And that looks good. If I can get it where it's not glary. My camera doing that. It's doing the old. But that's looking good. And I really like how I can run my finger over there and it's not over hitting, and that edge looks pretty good. It's good we're going to get it. Like I said, this one does go over more than that one. And like I said, that's just the thing with this design of aztecing. It's not symmetrical like a refit or something. As you can see, like it's not like you have this shape here, which here's center. It's just off to the side. It's not like there's another one here. It's totally different. Everything's totally different. You have some things that are symmetrical, but like even these are different. The nose, this is different than that. This part here is the same, but anything around it is like here you don't have any of that real light blue. What is it? 107 to the left? Yes. Let's cut this number out so we don't have it find its way underneath the decal. You really want to make sure you cut these off where they print all their information. But then you'll have a bunch of letters floating in your water. But I gotta remember, lift up. We're kind of way out of line here. Figure out what's going on here. I'm sure that's blue's an extension of that blue. Come on, you don't want to move. Here we go. Now maybe we can do it like this. We're still having an issue here. You do not want to move because we're getting into that heavy detail work. All right, it's not the way it's supposed to be. Now, are you going to come across here right? Looking okay here. We're a little too close there, which I think you Gotta twist a little bit. It's almost like we're gonna have to get this front right. Let's get more water in here first, because I would think that would be dead center. I'm gonna try it again. But that seems to push all this out of line. So maybe it's not. It's just weird that it's not. But I'm gonna stop. I think I was just not hitting the. I love these wireless lav mics, but because it was much better than running off my camera microphone, which was very directional, or yeah, it just was more directional. Didn't really, if I moved in certain places, and I never had a good voice. So I'm hoping these from my last couple of videos seem to be better audio wise. I can get my voice more level, consistent between every video. So they're just little wireless lavs, and it came with two of them, so I can have one charged and one ready. And but it's hard to see the little light. Well, there's pretty much this bridge section and shuttle base section. I even got this one back here on. I see a little raised area, so I'll have to try to get this settled down. But all in all, not bad. We'll just keep trucking and get these done, I think. But doing much better than the bottoms. But the only weird one was these here. Still feels like this is over a little bit, but it's just weird. This one here, I believe, is a little off. It's a little bit this way, but it's hitting massively there and hitting massively there. So this one here doesn't look bad. I think it should have been wider here, but that could be just the Aztecs are supposed to be smaller than the panels, I guess. So, but it looks good. And everything's settled really nice on the bridge. And these curves are settling down. That's nice. And I love that the color it adds to it. So I'm pretty happy with the gray I chose. So I'm going to continue. Just taking your time, so seems to be working. And adding a little more soap, keeping the water warm, adding a little bit of solution to the mix I put down before helps it set up. Make sure it's really mild because you don't want them to tear. Okay, I got this all done. It's actually working much better. Oh yeah, those seated down really nice. Everything's going so much better on top, just taking your time and doing those things that I said before. So I just started this piece, and we're ready to go with this next piece, which is going to be a fairly big piece. Looks like we're jumping from here to here at least. We got to push it up. Actually, so we're going to be out to there. You got 3 panels, so it's going to take those 3. All right, let's get this on here. See if I can do like I was doing. Try to get things lined up so I don't really have much movement to do. And that's been the nice thing about these is they've been doing that like that. Come over a little bit that way. We can. I think we're pretty good there. We're hitting that one. Yeah, that looks good. This water out. There's a bubble there we can get rid of. Sometimes it's good to just take your whole finger like a squeegee. Some of the air bubbles get stubborn because there's a lot of detail for them to get trapped under. Yeah, we have kind of some overage. I don't know if that's just because these phaser arrays are a hair bigger. Might be adding a little. All right, I'm gonna let that go. Get another one soaking. This one should be ready to go. There we go. Should be ready to come out of the water. Probably more than ready to come out of the water. These are softening up pretty fast. All right, next. You're probably a 2 panel. Yep. Oops, almost forgot to put a little bit of. I think this is helping. Instead of softening it from the top, helping soften it from the bottom too. There we go. Some are a little weird because they don't make the carrier film go all the way up top there if there's no color up there. It'll notch it weird, so it's hard to line. So you just got to use that edge there. Yeah, I think your finger is like the best thing to press lightly and try to squish all those bubbles out. That seems to be working the best for me. That's better. Much better. At least that edge follows that panel line now. All right. Well, I'm going to continue, and we'll be back when all this is done. Okay, here it is. It actually went down really nice. I'm really happy how the top went down. Much different than the bottom side, but the bottom side I think we're going to be okay with. We'll be okay with that. I mean, we still got to see when this gets a clear. I got to get a clear on it, but I want it to set, and then I want to go through and if I have to sink anything else down, but there's, oh, that's because there's windows there. That's what that is. But yeah, all this back here went on really nice. So I'm happy. Was really worried about this top getting done. So we'll let it sit overnight, and then tomorrow we'll do a clear on it. I'll probably go through and look for any air bubbles. I see a couple silvering areas, but not much. To be honest, not much at all. Using my finger to squeegee and all that stuff, we'll probably just touch up some of these edges with some more setting solution. The ones that are wrapping, there's a few that wrap quite over the lip, like you can see there, more than the others. Every once in a while they have a square that really comes over, which is cool. But I'm going to let that sit down and dry. Very happy with that. So now I feel a little more confident on this piece. This should be fun because we got a lot of different compound curves. But it shouldn't be too bad. This one here I'm kind of worried about because they did it as one big piece. I think it even goes all the way out to here. No, they cut it shy, just shy of those. Smart. So if those go there, yeah, it's going to come to here, and then it looks like you have these pieces here. Fill in on both sides of that. But yeah, nothing to it, but let's just keep trucking. They're going down fairly quick. The time is just making sure we get everything squeezed out. But I'm not going to bore you with it on there. And my other thing is figuring out how to get the decal cut to go around this. I don't know if I lay it down and then cut what I need to remove. I think that's probably going to be the best way. Let's just get it to lay down over top of that and then just trim with a sharp blade. However, it won't be too bad because I think there's a blank spot there. They show a colored, two blanks, and two opens, and then another colored, which will be here. I'm thinking. So let's look at this. Yeah, because right in behind that will be that, then the first colored, and then two opens. I should be actually in the second opening with this detail, but I moved it up here. So we're in this area is the two opens, so it's going to make it fairly easy. Just really going to be the bar that goes in between the two boxes. There'll be a box here and here, and then these are the colored ones. I betcha. Yep. So that's the one thing I know I'm going to have an issue. But like I said, I think the best thing for that is just to lay it down and then take a razor blade and just cut. Yeah, I think we're going to start here. And then we'll do this, and hopefully that'll line all this up. We're hoping. Yeah, because it looks like these come right up. I don't know if they come right up to the smooth part. Then we got the one that goes down the center here. I don't know. We could even do the top halves of the, just keep doing all the top halves. And then these two bottoms. Looks like the bottoms are different from the port and starboard. It's really just where those are. They're saying 24s on this side and 24s on that side. When you flip this one, it'll be this way, and you flip this one, it'll be that way. So really, everything's the same. All the decals look the same. The only thing I'm seeing different is there and there, but it's the same on this side. Oh, there it says 16 instead of, and that one says 19. That one says 18, and now it's 17. There might be a little bit of difference. They're just probably used the same picture. But 15 and 15 are same there. Then it's saying 26 there, which is saying 26 there. But here it gets to 18 instead of 16. 24, 25. And 24 and 25 are the same. So it's just this middle section here must be hair different, even though I think they used the same picture. But it's probably got this clear white piece is probably on the other side. But they used the same photo, just changed the numbers. So that's why you really can't go off of what the Aztecs are extremely looking like. But we need to find, I think the best would be start up here. Which is our back page. But without having a side view on this top, on this here, you can't see how much it's going up these neck. Probably going right to that line right there, I betcha. We'll see. I don't know if I have a picture that I can look at that'll give me a better idea. I can see here that that's all no real Aztecing. And that's where the Enterprise decal can go. And there's a stripe that goes right under that torpedo, that photo etch piece I put in there. It looks like this gives you enough Aztecs for this area. I don't know. If so, I'm going to keep it for the one I have the saucer off. I don't know if that set does. And lifeboats, and they'll save anything I get from this kit that goes on here, I'm saving for the other kit. Which then I'll have double because I had two of these Aztec kits. But I'm going to start going on this and I'll show you an update. Well, I just kept on trucking and got some decals on this. We got this area, which is kind of fun to do because there's a lot of heavy detail here. These actually should have been a little more that way so that these kind of arc right with the contours of the ship there. But they didn't really cut deep enough for it to go, around these guys. So I had to do the best I could. Although they did line up right here where the center hump is. So I'm hoping, that everything will settle down okay, which seems to be. Doing all right. I don't know if that's just, I think that's just a lighter blue right there. And it looks, sometimes the blues, when they're not seating down, they get light. But I think that's just a lighter blue right there. It's like a dark blue on one side and a lighter blue on the other. That's the problem with their instructions. It's really hard to see what's going on in those areas. But I did the best I could and made them fit. I had to cut. I still even had to cut around those just to get them to fit any tighter. But and then when I kept looking, I saw that they had a little bit of a space, which I think would have been much nicer. I be careful when I get fluids in there. I gotta make sure I get them squeegeed out, because what happens is they find a hole and then they go and then they make a pocket. But then I got spontaneous and did this one here just to kind of continue that. And then I, got these two, and they had a little issue going around those right there, but not too bad. The hardest is not, do I go right up to this panel line without having these? But that's the way it seems to work, because then these two on the outer side laid in fine. And then these I have from that I colored in the conduit trenches. Came with my hijacks, which I think now they're going under a different name. You find them on, if you look up like ship decals or Aztec decals, you'll see a whole bunch come up for like the Enterprise and X01. Could use some water there for this piece that's bending over. But he made decals for the trench cover. They look kind of dry. I don't think he put enough. I don't think they put enough clear coat over them, so I was kind of worried that they would bleed. I have two sets, two Enterprise Ds. I was going to do the two that I had as Enterprise Ds, one separated and one together. I'm glad I went and eventually got two sets of these from AMT. Because the consistency I'm finding even more, like, they look great as far as the printing. Like, I chose, since I had two, I chose this one that's a little on the darker side. And some of the colors, like especially up in the engines, are beautiful. The design and stuff. But what I'm finding on the saucer, I ordered two. He sent me one, so then I had to contact him and say I'm supposed to get two sets. So I don't know if it was a rush that he just printed, like he had a photo with everything on it, like, and it even has the lifeboats in some areas. It has the darkened out windows everywhere, which won't work good, because then you'd have to line them up with the windows, and I don't want them all darkened, so it's like every window is darkened. I think he had that, maybe for I don't know. And then the ones that he normally sells as in the kits, they don't have it's just the Aztecs. They don't have the lifeboats or the transport emitters. The little emitters that'll be like, there's going to be one there and one there. I think there's going to be one there and one there. And then there's a bunch on the saucer, I'm thinking it's the new set that he had maybe he felt he had to rush and get out, that he didn't pay attention that has the window plaque out on it on the saucer section, and it has lifeboats and transport emitters still on it, and don't really want those on there. And they look a little faded, and then some of the saucer edge areas, the Aztecing that would be out like in these areas looks like it ran a little bit or something. I don't know. Between those two kits, hopefully I can get one set. One problem I know I'm going to have is the neck ones. He has all the little black holes, all the windows blacked out. There's little dots on the decal, which I don't know. I'm just going to try to put them and line them up and then maybe try to poke them out. I don't know. We'll see when we get to that. But at least two of the ships I have the AMT. If it's too much, I will order another set of these. So I don't know if he had two different, like he has a image, or he was thinking of selling them with everything. and then later on decided to do the registries and the lifeboats and the transporter emitters and all the little other stuff that go over top of the aztecing separate, and he just grabbed the wrong file and printed. Don't know, but I can't use that set. Now that would be a fine set if you were going to not like the kit, but it defeats the purpose. But where I was going with that is I like these, and since this is Boyd's build, I kind of have free liberty to use those, even though that's not a canon thing. It's just normal hull gray, which pretty much still is. It just has a little bit of a black and darker gray outlining, which I really like. Now we'll see how well these sink down, and I was also getting worried that they would bleed. They didn't bleed, even with a little bit of a decal solution. But that's a nice, I think, little difference that I can add to this Galaxy Class Starship to make this one a little different and Boyd. And then there's other things that you'll see in the future that are going to make this different from the regular Galaxy Starships you see, like the Enterprise. I think that's the only one. I mean, you saw some in like the Dominion War, you saw a bunch of them, but really they could be just a bunch of Enterprise Ds that at the distance you can't read the registry. So I'm wondering how many are just duplicates of the Enterprise D. And that's why I'm going to change. Well, what it's going to be is the pennants that go across up on the top. They're going to be different, and then the one on the bottom, they're going to look more different than what you normally see. Oh, I can't show that sheet because that'll show you. A lot of the new things, the custom decals, I want to save till last. I might not even show them being put on until we reveal the ship. We'll do everything else, which is hard because I'm going to want to put the big registry on there first. But we'll do all the lifeboats and all the other stuff. And then we'll save those custom things that really are going to make it different for later. But I just wanted to show an upgrade on that, and nothing, like I said, I didn't do anything on the bottom yet. Just because this way I don't have decals down there, and this is tagging around and bobbing around them, and I could get a post. I got to go out in the garage. I have a wooden base that I can stick a hollow brass tube in, and then set these on top so I can work on them. But this is where we're at. I'm gonna call it a night and let these dry and see how these work. I'm really hoping these will shrink down and get some of the ridges. So we'll see. Okay. Here's what she's looking like so far. Still got to do a clear coat on the top. Want to do maybe another clear coat on the bottom, now that I cleaned up some of the stuff. But just a light one. But all the top of the saucer's done, which I believe I did show. But I want to do another clear coat to get these to soak down good before we do the actual registries and stuff like that. And then, but here I haven't been videoing too much because once you kind of get going, you kind of got to go. Is the drive section. Like I said, I don't know if I mentioned before, these were fun. I mean, they weren't too bad, but I had a lot of extra, so I had to cut one because I decided to put this front one in and then see where the other one, that way I knew that was going to be lined up right. And I actually had to cut this one here. And of course, the same on the other side. So I don't know if it would make more sense to start here and go. I guess it's 6 1 half dozen the other. Somewhere you're going to have a decal that has to get cut. And you can't do this one because it's a curve. I mean, you could do the little short piece, but see, it fits in the panel lines nice. These here don't. They don't all stop and start at a panel line. So it's kind of weird. I guess they kind of start, but they kind of stop a little off. And I think it does it a little bit every time, and then that may be where you get the extra. Yeah. And we gotta soak that little spot down there. There's just little spots. I haven't gone through up top. Like here's an area I can just cut and soak down. And then these I can cut out now. Go in there like that. Be careful because you don't want it to chip out. So you want a good sharp blade. There's that one. And you don't have to be exact. If you just get rid of most of it, and if you have like still a little sheet of clear, just cut it so when I hit a little more solvent there, it should drop it down. You won't even know. But it's actually cutting out really nice. Looking for any major bubbles on here, but I'm not really seeing any because they were laid down in such fine sheets, and I was kind of rubbing my hand really good to squeegee those out. Took my time with them. Yeah, there and there. There's a lot of detail on window holes that was going over top of. But we still have the bottom to do. I'm going to save this part for last because it's a good spot to grab while you're decaling. So you're not constantly handling, and especially the edges, because you got ones that wrap kind of around, like in the back. Yep, so the bottom. This one shouldn't be too bad. It's 2 pieces. So there's going to take care of that. And then it's just these in the sides of the pylons and the bottom of the engines, or yeah, the warp engines. And then this is 2 pieces, I believe. And then we got the neck too, which should be interesting. So I'm going to have to cut holes for the vents. If I use the decal, I might just paint that, because I'm going to have to paint the front anyway, because the decal only gives you the side. Yeah, because otherwise with the decal, I'd have to cut for those slots there, which wouldn't be hard. I could lay the decal down and then just, once it sets, poke slots probably to this side so I can push the other piece in. I mean, I could try it, and if I don't like it, scrub it, and then just paint it. But I just want to show you where we're at. Oh, and the base is getting printed. Let me move this shit. This one's in white because I had a failure on this piece, and I just quickly just went to white. It's all going to get painted anyway, but this is, I don't know if this is the piece. Oh, it is. Yeah. It might go together. I have to clean the holes and clean the pegs. Yeah, it wants to. But basically, that's it. It's going to go together in 6 pieces. This is the front, I think. Yeah, front right, front center, and then there's a... Yeah, here's this one. This one, for some reason, it did a little wubby there. I'll just sand it. It's nothing big. I hit it with a torch to see, make sure nothing's loose. And I'll just hit it with sandpaper. We're probably going to putty these seams up anyway. We'll see how tight it goes together, but I have a feeling we'll do some puttying in the seams. So I'm sure there's a little bit of a, curling at the edges, even though I did put a brim there and stuff. But yeah, that would go. And then I already have a you can see here, actually I have there's a little notch here, but once all 4 pieces meet, it'll be a hole. That will be for the ship. And it's off center to the base because really about center ship, once you add the saucer, is about here. That's kind of why Polar Lights has theirs here. It's the same way even with the 350s. So really the balance point is about here. Because center is right about, it is probably right close right here. But I think if you measure, it's right about here on this one. because I think this is an 18-inch ship. Yeah, this is an 18-inch ship. And if you put something here, there's 8 inches right on pretty much to the edge of that deflector dish, or that first, well, if I hold this up straight, it's right to the edge of there. So then another inch, yeah, so it's right about here is center. If you go off measurements, 9 inches, and then another 9 will give you your 18. So yeah, if you went center, maybe, you know, if I put that hole in the center, that means this ship would be, you know, I want the ship to set center, so I want this area that's actually the center of the ship to be about center. That this way, and that's that. And we put over top. There we go. So as you can see, that hole should line up. I believe I might even have the wrong pieces here. I believe that's the back. So these might actually be this way. We'll figure it out. Yeah, that should fall. And it's weird. No, that's right. So that hole will be here. The post is right there. There's the back of the ship setting. So I have a little overhang. And it just looks weird, but you have this big saucer that's going to go right out here. So your post hole is not going to be center, because center would be probably somewhere here, like the ship would be. So where post is off. So I got all that measured. So that's why there's a post hole there. So I figured I'd print. It's a nice thing about printing your own bases, so you can print your post hole, and then that should fit, if I did my measurements correct, that should fit one of these. Oh yeah. Yeah, so what I think I'm going to do here, this will be our power jack. This will be our main power, which will turn on the main ship lights, nav lights, everything but the torpedoes. And then one of these will be for the torpedoes, and the other one will be for the main lights on the dry dock, the ones that wrap around. Now the ones that I have for marker lights up on top of the dry dock, but to get these marker lights here, and then the ones I'm going to have in the 4 corners, I'll have come on with the main power. But that way, if I have the Enterprise or the, you know, Galaxy Class Starship just sitting here, and I don't want this big, you know, tanning bed light going on here, I can have it off. But then you can just come over here and hit a switch and turn them on. Like I said, I wish I would have done separate circuits for the ship, like main lights, and then maybe the next one be the nav and the deflector dish, you know, nav, deflector dish, and strobes, and then a third one for like the engines, and then one for the torpedoes. I guess that would be quite a few. I could probably combine some, maybe the main lights and the navs. It'd be kind of neat to have just the nav lights on too one time, and it look like the whole ship's dark. But I think once you have the main lights on, you'd probably have your marker lights on. So that's probably what I'd do. Main lights and navs, torpedoes, and then engines. But I'm rambling, and I'm going to start getting these cleaned up so they can get glued together so I can get them puttied. And then continue with the decaling of the bottom of that drive section.